Our distance. Distance on the coordinate plane can be thought of the measure or the length from one point to another. And what's amazing, because of my ex-boyfriend Pythagoras, we have a distance formula. The distance formula uses the same things that we use for midpoint, in that we'll have 2 points, and each point will have a x and a y coordinate, x2, y2. So you're going to have to memorize the distance formula. It's not on any formula sheet, okay? So memorize this. But think of it this way when you're trying to remember it. The difference between the x's squared plus the difference between the y squared. So you're going to take the square root of the difference between the x's squared plus the difference between the y squared. Okay, so just like Ms. Del Senor just told us, with the distance formula, because we're looking for the distance between each pair of points, we're going to have to first label those points so we can identify which ones are our x1, y1, x2, y2. So this is my x1, y1. This is my x2, y2. So the first thing you always do is label those points. If you've labeled them correctly and you've gone home and been dutiful and memorized your formula, then you can substitute in the values. So let's do it. What's my x sub 2? 2. 2 minus 2. You see where I got those? And 5 minus a negative 1. Oh boy. But don't let that destroy you, because we can work with it. What's 2 minus 2? 0 squared. And what's 5 minus a negative 1? If you don't know this, key it in your calculator. And if you don't know it, you may want to come and see a math teacher so we can learn what this means. 5 minus negative 1 is 6. Thank you. 0 squared. That's a 0. 6 squared. 36. It's in your calculator. And then if we take the square root of 36, then we know 6. So JK, the distance from J to K is 6. The measure of JK is 6. Going from J to K, we move 6 units. Whatever way you want to talk about length, that's what the distance formula tells you. I'm going to hop over 2. I'm going to let you all do 2 on your own, because my students would skip through this one. They say, oh no, all those negatives. No, don't do it. It's the same type of problem. Here we have x1, y1, x2, oh boy, y2. Can you all tell that's an x? All right, we're going to put in our distance formula. My x2 is negative 1 plus, minus, my x1 is negative 1. Woo! It's beautiful. And then my y2 is negative 3. That is a 3, yeah? Minus a negative 11. Okay, now let's evaluate this. What's negative 1 plus 1?
2.
Negative 1, I'm at negative 1 and I go over 1. I go, what is negative 1 plus 1? 0. Be very careful. If you don't know that, your calculator can do it. Key it. I thought you said 2.
No, I said 2.
Huh?
I said 2.
He said 0.
You
Oh,
said 0.
I'm sorry. It's your accent. All right.
The accent of your
If you had an accent, I would have understood.
0.
I'm just teasing you. Negative 3 plus 11.
minus negative, right?
8.
Very
minus
good.
negative 11, so plus 11.
Okay, so 0 squared is,
0.
Thank
plus
you. and 8 squared is
8,
64. And what's the square root of 64? So NP, the distance from N to P is 8. Okay? Woo! See, the negatives weren't bad. You've got a calculator. If you don't know how to deal with these negatives, learn how to key them in. You're going to do 2 on your own. Now, is it any different if we've got a coordinate plane? No. What do we have to? We just have to add a step. And what step is that? Find the coordinates of our points. Okay, I'm going to label these so you all can see. This is my A, and this is my B. So A is at what? Yeah, so what's the coordinates? -5, 5, thank you. And where's B? 1, -2. So now we just do what? x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, oh no, oh no. Somebody tell me what I do now. Substitute in. So what's my x2? 1 minus -5, thank you. I'm listening.
Negative 2.
-2 minus 5, thank you. Okay, now did you see where we got those? You're going to have to memorize this formula. x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1, okay? 1 plus 5 is 6. And -2 minus 5. -7, thank you. Okay, what is 6 squared? And what's, now listen to me. What is -7 squared? Hmm? -7 squared.
Negative 7 times itself, -7 times -7. So the answer will be positive or negative.
Thank you.
You're
If you
positive?
don't,
You're
yes.
positive?
Are you sure? Okay. If you're not sure, key it in. Don't make this, if you make a mistake on this on a test,
And,
Miss Delchiner is going to say, that's silly.
and what's the most important? When you're squaring something in the calculator, always use parentheses. It's a rule of thumb. I don't care if it's a positive or negative number. If you're going to square something, I want to see it in parentheses. Okay?
Because then the
That's
negative always,
guaranteed.
Okay, so that way you get it right if it happens.
yes.
By the way, if I may interrupt, sorry. But if you can get as far as Ms. Somerville has shown you right here, in this one that's half black and half white and red in color, you can put that into your calculator exactly as you see it here. You can push the second key and the x squared and you'll get this square root. And then you can put the parenthesis, because you have that on your calculator, don't you? Is that key on there? And then the number 1 minus -5. And then the right parenthesis.
You want to pause
Then
it
hit
and
the
pull
square-
up the, you want to
Yeah.
pull up the,
The smart view, I can do that. So if what you're having trouble with is simplifying this in the, okay, this should look like the calculator you have in front of you, and the characters that were written, will I be able to write on this right here? Okay. We had in black, the square root,
Try it again, sorry, it wasn't highlighted yet.
is it now?
Yeah.
But the calculator's going.
We'll write first.
I just want this.
yeah, but when you write, you can actually, should I teach this? No. They've been teasing me because my technology skills aren't very
Oh,
good.
and you like finding mine, there you go.
Yeah, I think you could drag, you want to drag this over.
Yeah, I would like
But
to
you have to
move
put the
that around.
pens down, and you can just drag this over. Well, if you made it as one thing, it wouldn't be.
How do you make it as one?
When you write it, like, see how I wrote those, it's the timing. Okay,
Oh,
now-
really? And you can erase that?
That's beautiful. Okay.
Now pull up your calculator.
Which I do by finding it down here somewhere.
This is a calculator.
Thank you. Okay, here we go.
Did you
I want
see
to
that?
put this expression exactly as I see it, straight into the display, so all I have to do is hit enter, and it tells me the final number. Okay, you ready? Here we go. We
This
need
is
first is
amazing.
this square root symbol, which you notice is in blue on this calculator right above the x squared. Do you see it on your calculator? So to get that, we have to push the second button to get the blue function on that key and push it. And now I have the square root symbol showing up on the calculator. Then I'm going to put, the next thing we see is a left parenthesis. There it is. It shows up. Then 1. Then minus. Then -5. Then a right parenthesis. You keep it up.
Mm-hmm.
Then squared. Look at it. It's looking exactly like what Miss Somerville has written for us. It's beautiful. Okay. Then a plus. Then a parenthesis. Then a -2. You keep it up.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Minus 5. Parenthesis.
Everything.
Squared. And there it is. It looks exactly like what she wrote.
And
Doesn't
double
it?
check it. Before you hit enter, double check it, because you can still make changes if you need to.
Yeah. Make sure you got the minus. Notice we have a 1 minus a -5, which is right. We have a minus a 5, a plus 5, which is right. And notice this negative sign looks different from the minus sign, because this one came from this button, the negative button, but this one up here came from the minus button. That's exactly what she has written. You see it?
It's an amazing calculator.
So all you have to do is hit enter and go home. You're done. 9.219544. That's all. Will be your answer. Was that not sweet?
Yes.
Thank you.
The day when we didn't have that.
Like, I don't know how you
Yeah.
do this on a slide rule.
Yeah, and when Miss Del Signore had that abacus, I don't know how to do it.
Oh, yeah. All right, do number, what number is that? Do number 5.